A big one for me, I'm going to change my style of comedy. I have been offensive to too many people.
This is his personal haven, a place where one of the greatest comedians of our time, Dave Chappelle, has turned farmland into a playground for creativity and community. Morning mist hugs the pastures, the horse barn groans awake, and he steps onto his porch, coffee steaming in hand. This isn't a Hollywood green room or a neon-lit comedy club in New York. Today, we're going to walk through that quiet, fascinating life, from the stables to the stage he built, right on his own property. But to really understand why Dave chose Ohio over the glitz of Hollywood, we have to rewind a bit, back to the journey that carried him from Silver Spring to the groundbreaking world of Chappelle's show. Hit like and subscribe, because this story is as surprising as it is inspiring. Dave Chappelle was born in 1973 in Washington, D.C., to two academics. His father, William David Chappelle III, taught at Antioch College in Yellow Springs, Ohio, while his mother, Yvonne Sion, worked in government before turning to academia. Though the family lived in Silver Spring, Maryland, Dave spent summers with his father in Ohio, a rhythm of city and country that would later define his life. As a kid, he idolized Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, memorizing their routines and dreaming of one day grabbing a mic on a big stage. By the early 90s, that dream was taking shape. As a teenager, he hit open mics, eventually making it to the Apollo Theater's amateur night. In 1992, he broke through on HBO's Def Comedy Jam, earning a reputation for fearless delivery and sharp observational humor far beyond his years. Soon, he was opening for legends like Aretha Franklin, holding his own in front of the toughest crowds. Hollywood came calling. His first film role was as Ah Chew in Mel Brooks's Robin Hood, Men in Tights, 1993, followed by appearances in The Nutty Professor, 1996, and his own cult classic stoner comedy Half-Baked, 1998, which he co-wrote and starred in. But it was television that would make him a household name. In 2003, Comedy Central launched Chappelle's Show, a sketch show that fused outrageous comedy with razor-sharp social commentary. Sketches like The Racial Draft, Charlie Murphy's True Hollywood Stories, and The Wayne Brady Bit didn't just go viral, they became part of everyday conversation, long before viral was even a word. In 2004, filmmaker Michel Gondry captured one of his legendary block parties, a free Brooklyn concert with Kanye West, The Roots, and Erykah Badu, and turned it into a documentary celebrating music, comedy, and community. Then, at the peak of his fame in 2005, Chappelle shocked the world by walking away from a rumored $50 million contract and retreating to Ohio. For nearly a decade, he avoided mainstream television, performing surprise stand-up sets and perfecting his craft far from the cameras. That long hiatus only added to his legend. When he returned in 2014, it was with a bang. Sold-out shows at Radio City Music Hall, a 2016 Saturday Night Live hosting gig that earned him an Emmy, and one of the richest comedy deals in Netflix history. Between 2016 and 2025, Dave Chappelle dropped a string of specials that left audiences laughing, thinking, and sometimes squirming. The Age of Spin, Deep in the Heart of Texas, Equanimity, The Bird Revelation, Sticks and Stones, The Dreamer, and The Closer. But he didn't just stick to stand-up. In 2018, he surprised fans by stepping into a dramatic role as Noodles, Bradley Cooper's friend in A Star is Born, revealing a quieter, subtler side of his talent. He's also shared the stage with other icons, touring with Jon Stewart and Aziz Ansari, experimenting with shows that mix comedy, storytelling, and live music, recalling the spirit of his legendary block party. From Silver Spring classrooms to New York comedy clubs, from sketch show superstardom to a self-imposed exile and a triumphant comeback, every step of his journey explains why Dave chose to plant roots far from Hollywood glitz. Ohio farm, Country soul. On Springfield Road, two crisp white fences flank a long gravel driveway, rolling pastures stretching as far as the eye can see, still glistening with morning dew. The air smells of cut hay and wildflowers, and just ahead, sunlight catches a glint of blue water, the pond at the center of Dave Chappelle's sprawling 65-acre farm. This isn't a celebrity hideout, it's a working farm, a place where a comedy legend found space to breathe, think, and create. At the heart of the property sits a house that blends rustic charm with understated luxury. Step inside, and a renovated gourmet kitchen greets you. Granite counters, a broad breakfast bar, and gleaming high-end appliances under soft recessed lighting. Perfect for big family breakfasts or late-night writing sessions fueled by coffee. Beyond the kitchen, a sprawling butler's dining room waits, ready for a dozen friends or an impromptu writers' meeting. The great room draws you in with a soaring stone fireplace that stretches toward a skylight-punched ceiling, flooding the space with natural light even on gray Ohio days. The home's layout balances privacy and comfort. Two master bedrooms sit at opposite ends, each boasting spa-like bathrooms with radiant floor heating and handicap-accessible showers. Downstairs, a massive entertainment room with its own brick fireplace feels like a private club for stand-up rehearsals or movie nights. Additional bedrooms, a full bath, and a vintage wine cellar nod to the property's history before Chappelle made it his own. Outside, the farm transforms into a playground. A covered patio flows onto a Trex deck, perfect for barbecues or evening cigar sessions. A sparkling pool beckons for summer dips. Across the yard, a 30 by 50-foot insulated pole barn doubles as a garage, workshop, or rehearsal space. Beyond that, a 40 by 60-foot horse barn, complete with rubber mats and professional equestrian standards, shows that rural life is more than just scenery. It's a way of living. Walking through, it's easy to imagine the routine. Dave scribbling punchlines at the butler's table, testing a bit by the stone fireplace with friends before taking it out into the world. Every corner of the farm whispers stories of creativity, laughter, and a life lived on his own terms. The whole property feels like one giant backstage, a green room with no walls, where the meadow itself is the stage and the audience might just be a flock of birds. For a man who's spent decades under the bright lights, the farm offers a kind of anonymity no city could ever provide. And yet, Chappelle hasn't abandoned community. He's known to throw pop-up comedy shows right on the property, bringing in fellow comedians and musicians, pitching tents, and turning a quiet Ohio evening into an impromptu festival. In that sense, the farm isn't just a retreat, it's an extension of his art. Here, jokes sprout as naturally as the crops. But this isn't his only Ohio hideaway. When he wants something more traditionally suburban, closer to shops, schools, and the hum of small-town life, he retreats to his home in Xenia, Ohio. Set on 2 peaceful acres, this modern house feels like a reset button after the whirlwind of touring, writing, and pop-up shows. It's not about spectacle here, it's about comfort and quiet. The house itself has been carefully updated. In 2023, it got new siding, a state-of-the-art HVAC system, and a whole-house generator. Small touches that matter when Ohio winters strike or when you just want life to run smoothly. Inside, a sleek kitchen with upgraded appliances and countertops handles everything from quick family breakfasts to full dinner spreads for friends. The family room soars under vaulted ceilings, giving it a loft-like feel, while a cozy fireplace anchors the dining room, perfect for Sunday dinners or late-night brainstorming sessions with fellow comics. 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms provide space for the family, while the master suite boasts a private dressing room and spacious ensuite bathroom. It's easy to picture Chappelle here at night, scribbling new material at the dining table, or watching old stand-up specials while the fire crackles. Outdoors, the property's most versatile feature is a 1,700-square-foot shed, perfect for a workshop, rehearsal space, or storage for all the gear that comes with running shows on the farm. The backyard is just as inviting, with an in-ground pool and a small pool house, a relaxed setting for family swim days or casual gatherings with friends and collaborators. There's room for kids to run, privacy for adults to exhale, and enough polish to make it feel like a true retreat rather than a second job. The contrast with Springfield Road couldn't be clearer. By day, Chappelle might be out in the pastures, tending to horses or hosting pop-up comedy nights under tents. By evening, he slips into Xenia, closes the door, and becomes just Dave, the husband, father, and neighbor in a quiet suburban hideaway. It's a rhythm that seems to sustain him. Public creativity, balanced by private calm. And just as his homes reflect different sides of his personality, so does his garage, ready for whatever project or passion calls next. The next stop on our tour isn't a kitchen, a barn, or even a stage. It's a lineup of cars and motorcycles that tell a story all their own. Speed, style, and a touch of nostalgia. Car collection. Walking through his collection feels like flipping through chapters of a story only Dave Chappelle could write. Each vehicle is a reflection of his personality, his lifestyle, and the rhythm of his life. First up, the Mercedes-AMG G63, a $183,000 twin-turbo V8 SUV that fits just as comfortably on a Beverly Hills street as it does on a gravel farm lane. With hand-stitched leather, a Burmester sound system, and a bold, squared-off stance, it's a green room on wheels, a place to decompress between gigs or shuttle friends and collaborators to pop-up shows. This is the one car in the lineup that unabashedly screams star. Next, the Ford F-150, an 8th-generation pickup you could pick up used for around $14,000, but its value goes far beyond the sticker price. This is America's comedian in America's truck, practical, unpretentious, and built for work. With a long bed for hauling gear and a cab big enough for family trips into town, it's parked right by the horse barn. A reminder that Chappelle's Ohio life is real, grounded, and boots on the ground. For sheer speed and precision, there's the Porsche 911 Carrera S, starting around $117,000. With 443 horsepower and 0 to 60 in just 3.5 seconds, it's as sharp and clean as one of his best punchlines. Its sculpted leather interior and timeless profile nod to tradition, but its performance is pure modern thrill. Picture Dave slipping out at dawn, carving a winding Ohio back road like it's the Nürburgring, rehearsing a bit to the purr of the engine and laughing to himself. Then there's the Range Rover Sport, about $120,000, blending British luxury with off-road grit. Smooth over gravel, steady through mud. It's the perfect bridge between two worlds, the global tour life and the quiet farm. The big city stages and small-town lanes. Tucked against the back wall, a Ducati 848 Evo, a $14,000 Italian sport bike with 140 horsepower. Waits for moments when precision and thrill are the only options. Lightweight, nimble, and screaming with its high-revving V-twin growl, it's the physical embodiment of timing perfected over decades. Think of it as a punchline on two wheels. Blink, and it's gone, but the impact lingers. And just like these vehicles, each telling a different story, so too does the financial engine behind them. Together, they reveal another layer of Dave Chappelle, the man who balances the fast lane with the slow, the public stage with private serenity, all while keeping the ride undeniably his own. Let's take a peek under the hood of Dave Chappelle's earnings, the money that gives him the freedom to live and work entirely on his own terms. With an estimated net worth of around $70 million, what's striking isn't just the total, but the variety of streams feeding it. Netflix specials, the gold standard. Since 2016, Chappelle has been reshaping what a comedian can earn through a series of Netflix specials. The Age of Spin, Deep in the Heart of Texas, Equanimity, The Bird Revelation, Sticks and Stones, and The Closer reportedly each brought in $20 to $24 million. A seventh special is set for 2025, extending one of the richest comedy deals in streaming history. Beyond the checks, these specials keep his material alive globally, generating long-tail royalties and driving worldwide ticket demand. Touring, live and lucrative. Stand-up remains his heartbeat, and touring has become a powerhouse. In 2023 alone, Chappelle's shows grossed $36.6 million over 19 dates, selling 254,000 tickets, with fees ranging from $100,000 to $500,000 per appearance. Unlike many peers, he often controls his own production and ticketing, keeping a bigger slice of the pie. Each tour doubles as a cash infusion and a live testing ground for fresh material before cameras roll. Chappelle's show, long-term impact. Even though Chappelle's show ended in 2006, its influence and income lives on. In 2021, he renegotiated with Comedy Central and streaming platforms, reclaiming fair compensation and royalties previously tied up in licensing disputes. That move not only restored a valuable income stream, but reinforced his ownership of the brand he built: film, TV, and beyond. While stand-up is central, Chappelle has also collected steady paychecks from film and TV. Cult classics like Half-Baked, a cameo in Spike Lee's Chirac, and a supporting role as Noodles in A Star is born added to his portfolio. Hosting Saturday Night Live in 2016, 2020, and 2022 brought Emmys, expanded his audience, and added substantial fees. He's quietly earned from commercials, lending his voice to brands like Under Armour, and merchandise from his tours, often limited edition designs tied to specific shows, moves quickly. Production is another avenue. A Netflix documentary on the history of comedy, which he's executive producing, is scheduled for 2025. Investing locally. Back home, Chappelle is planning a comedy club and restaurant in Yellow Springs, Ohio, a move that will root his creative ecosystem locally while generating new revenue streams. But despite the impressive fortune, Chappelle sees money as a tool, not a goal. It funds his freedom, strengthens community, amplifies voices, and supports the places that shaped him, turning wealth into impact, not just luxury. Philanthropy. Dave Chappelle's giving isn't flashy. It's intentional. One of his earliest public acts of service came in 2004, when he volunteered with the Seeds of Peace International Camp, a program bringing together young people from conflict zones to learn leadership and coexistence. For a comedian whose work often dissects cultural divides, it was a natural fit, a chance to use his platform to promote dialogue rather than division. Education has remained a through line. Chappelle has long supported the Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Washington, D.C., the high school he once dreamed of attending. He's donated generously to their programs and, in 2022, returned for a graduation ceremony where the auditorium was renamed in his honor. The event became a candid Q&A, with students challenging him about his comedy, an unusually public moment for a man known for giving quietly. He's also a consistent champion of DC public schools. When he won an Emmy in 2017, he used the moment to praise teachers and public schools, bringing donations and attention their way. Closer to home, in Yellow Springs, Ohio, his support is more understated. Locals tell stories of Chappelle quietly funding community events, repairing facilities, or covering costs for local groups, always without seeking credit. During the pandemic, he hosted socially distanced outdoor shows on his farm. These events gave comedians a stage and put money into the pockets of local vendors and staff who had lost work. It's micro-philanthropy woven into daily life, quiet, effective, and deeply personal. While the world knows him for viral sketches and mic drops, his neighbors know him for generosity that doesn't make headlines. Personal life. Behind the sold-out tours and viral sketches, Dave Chappelle's personal life moves at a quieter pace. In 2001, he married Elaine Mendoza Urf, a woman he'd been with long before Netflix deals or Emmy wins. Together, they've built a family far from Hollywood's glare, raising 2 sons and a daughter in the calm of Yellow Springs. Friends describe their partnership as steady and low drama, a stark contrast to celebrity news cycles, and one more reason Chappelle chose rural Ohio over coastal fame. Faith is another constant. Chappelle converted to Islam at 17, long before he was a household name. In a 2005 Time interview, he explained how faith helps him keep perspective, using his career to benefit others rather than chase wealth or fame. It's part of why his comedy can be irreverent yet compassionate, tackling social tensions without losing sight of human dignity. His values extend to civic engagement. In 2020, he endorsed Andrew Yang and even campaigned as a surrogate, introducing ideas like universal basic income to audiences who might never attend a policy lecture, but will line up for a comedy show. In January 2024, he headlined a campaign event for actor Hill Harper, running in the Democratic primary for Michigan's U.S. Senate, blending civic engagement with performance, showing up as a neighbor, not a pundit, lending his microphone to someone else's cause. Even his style reflects this duality. On stage, he favors jumpsuits, hoodies, and his signature cigarette. Practical, no nonsense, working-class honesty under the Netflix spotlights. Offstage, he blends in with Yellow Springs farmers and craftspeople in boots, flannel, and weatherproof jackets. When he does lean into fashion, it's playful and ironic. Limited edition sneakers, custom pop-up merch, or subtle nods to African and Islamic design. It's never about branding, just comfort, authenticity, and being himself. Dave Chappelle isn't just a comedian. He's a storyteller, entrepreneur, and gentleman farmer, redefining what success can look like. If his journey inspires you, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive.